Michael Massa. Book of Jasher, chapter 18. 11 In those days all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah, and of the whole 5 cities, were exceedingly wicked and sinful against Congo, and they provoked Congo with their abominations, and they strengthened in aging abominably and scornfully before Congo, and their wickedness and crimes were in those days great before Congo. 12 And they had in their land a very extensive valley, about half a day's walk, and in it there were fountains of water and a great deal of herbage surrounding the water. 13 And all the people of Sodom and Gomorrah went there 4 times in the year, with their wives and children and all belonging to them, and they rejoiced there with timbrels and dances. 14 And in the time of rejoicing they would all rise and lay hold of their neighbors' wives, and some, the virgin daughters of their neighbors, and they enjoyed them, and each man saw his wife and daughter in the hands of his neighbor and did not say a word. 15 And they did so from morning to night, and they afterward returned home each man to his house and each woman to her tent, so they always did 4 times in the year. 16 Also when a stranger came into their cities and brought goods which he had purchased with a view to dispose of there, the people of these cities would assemble, men, women and children, young and old, and go to the man and take his goods by force, giving a little to each man until there was an end to all the goods of the owner which he had brought into the land. 17 And if the owner of the goods quarreled with them, saying, What is this work which you have done to me? Then they would approach to him one by one, and each would show him the little which he took and taunt him, saying, I only took that little which thou didst give me. And when he heard this from them all, he would arise and go from them in sorrow and bitterness of soul, when they would all arise and go after him, and drive him out of the city with great noise and tumult. 18 And there was a man from the country of Elam who was leisurely going on the road, seated upon his ass, which carried a fine mantle of divers colors, and the mantle was bound with a cord upon the ass. 19 And the man was on his journey passing through the street of Sodom when the sun set in the evening, and he remained there in order to abide during the night, but no one would let him into his house. And at that time there was in Sodom a wicked and mischievous man, one skillful to do evil, and his name was Hadad. Book of Jasher, chapter 19. 1 And the cities of Sodom had 4 judges to 4 cities, and these were their names, Sirach in the city of Sodom, Sharkad in Gomorrah, Zabnak in Admah, and Menon in Zeboim. 3 And by desire of their 4 judges the people of Sodom and Gomorrah had beds erected in the streets of the cities, and if a man came to these places they laid hold of him and brought him to one of their beds, and by force made him to lie in them. 4 And as he lay down, 3 men would stand at his head and 3 at his feet, and measure him by the length of the bed, and if the man was less than the bed these 6 men would stretch him at each end, and when he cried out to them they would not answer him. 5 And if he was longer than the bed they would draw together the 2 sides of the bed at each end, until the man had reached the gates of death. 6 And if he continued to cry out to them, they would answer him, saying, Thus shall it be done to a man that cometh into our land. 8 And when a poor man came to their land they would give him silver and gold, and cause a proclamation in the whole city not to give him a morsel of bread to eat, and if the stranger should remain there some days, and die from hunger, not having been able to obtain a morsel of bread, then at his death all the people of the city would come and take their silver and gold which they had given to him. 9 And those that could recognize the silver or gold which they had given him took it back, and at his death they also stripped him of his garments, and they would fight about them, and he that prevailed over his neighbor took them. 10 They would after that carry him and bury him under some of the shrubs in the deserts, so they did all the days to any one that came to them and died in their land. 12 And Eleazar went to Sodom, and he met a man of Sodom fighting with a stranger, and the man of Sodom stripped the poor man of all his clothes and went away. 15 And the man of Sodom answered Eleazar, saying, Is this man thy brother, or have the people of Sodom made thee a judge this day, that thou speakest about this man? 16 And Eleazar strove with the man of Sodom on account of the poor man, and when Eleazar approached to recover the poor man's clothes from the man of Sodom, he hastened and with a stone smote Eleazar in the forehead. 17 And the blood flowed copiously from Eleazar's forehead, and when the man saw the blood he caught hold of Eleazar, saying, give me my hire for having rid thee of this bad blood that was in thy forehead, for such is the custom and the law in our land. 18 And Eleazar said to him, Thou hast wounded me and requirest me to pay thee thy hire, and Eleazar would not hearken to the words of the man of Sodom. 19 And the man laid hold of Eleazar and brought him to Shachra the judge of Sodom for judgment. 20 And the man spoke to the judge, saying, I beseech thee my lord, thus has this man done, for I smote him with a stone that the blood flowed from his forehead, and he is unwilling to give me my hire. 21 And the judge said to Eleazar, This man speaketh truth to thee, give him his hire, for this is the custom in our land. And Eleazar heard the words of the judge, and he lifted up a stone and smote the judge, and the stone struck on his forehead, and the blood flowed copiously from the forehead of the judge. And Eleazar said, If this then is the custom in your land, give thou unto this man what I should have given him, for this has been thy decision, thou didst decree it. 22 And Eleazar left the man of Sodom with the judge, and he went away. 25 And a poor man came into the city to seek a maintenance, and he remained in the city some days, and all the people of Sodom caused a proclamation of their custom not to give this man a morsel of bread to eat, until he dropped dead upon the earth, and they did so. 26 And Paltith the daughter of Lot saw this man lying in the street starved with hunger, and no one would give him anything to keep him alive, and he was just upon the point of death. 33 And the 3 men went out of the place in which they were concealed, and they seized Paltith and the bread which was in the poor man's hand. 34 And they took Paltith and brought her before their judges, and they said to them, Thus did she do, and it is she who supplied the poor man with bread, therefore did he not die all this time. Now therefore declare to us the punishment due to this woman for having transgressed our law. 35 And the people of Sodom and Gomorrah assembled and kindled a fire in the street of the city, and they took the woman and cast her into the fire, and she was burned to ashes. 37 For a traveler came into the city of Admah to abide there all night. 38 And he asked her for a drink of water, and she said to him, Who art thou? And he said to her, I was this day going on the road, and reached here when the sun set, so I will abide here all night, and in the morning I will arise early and continue my journey. 39 And the young woman went into the house and fetched the man bread and water to eat and drink. 41 And the judge said, The judgment of death must pass upon this woman because she transgressed our law, and this therefore is the decision concerning her. 42 And the people of those cities assembled and brought out the young woman, and anointed her with honey from head to foot, as the judge had decreed, and they placed her before a swarm of bees which were then in their hives, and the bees flew upon her and stung her that her whole body was swelled. 43 And the young woman cried out on account of the bees, but no one took notice of her or pitied her, and her cries ascended to heaven. 44 And Congo was provoked at this and at all the works of the cities of Sodom, for they had abundance of food, and had tranquility amongst them, and still would not sustain the poor and the needy, and in those days their evil doings and sins became great before Congo. 45 And Congo sent for 2 of the angels that had come to Abraham's house, to destroy Sodom and its cities. 46 And the angels rose up from the door of Abraham's tent, after they had eaten and drunk, and they reached Sodom in the evening, and Lot was then sitting in the gate of Sodom, and when he saw them he rose to meet them, and he bowed down to the ground. 48 And the angels said to Lot, Arise, go forth from this place, thou and all belonging to thee, lest thou be consumed in the iniquity of this city, for Congo will destroy this place. 51 Then Congo rained upon Sodom and upon Gomorrah and upon all these cities brimstone and fire from Congo out of heaven. Family lovemaking. 56 And Abraham rose up early in the morning to see what had been done to the cities of Sodom, and he looked and beheld the smoke of the cities going up like the smoke of a furnace. 57 And Lot and his 2 daughters remained in the cave, and they made their father drink wine, and they lay with him, for they said there was no man upon earth that could raise up seed from them, for they thought that the whole earth was destroyed. 58 And they both lay with their father, and they conceived and bare sons, and the firstborn called the name of her son Moab.